still watching Career Bench, and as we were discussing earlier on, we were talking about how important mentorship is when it comes to career guidance. Well, I would love to ask Dr. Hannington to walk us through a day in his life as a dentist.
My classical day as a dentist.
Yes.
So a classical day, to define a dentist, would be a fairly busy day in which, given a young setup like this one, which is just 3 years old, you would possibly have about 7 to 8 patients a day. So my day usually starts at 7:30. I'm trying to see which piece of my meat I should share about my day. It can be a nice day when everything is fine. Like you're seeing a patient, you're having the right diagnostics, you are having very cooperative patient. Remember, as a dentist, we sell pain.
That's true, yeah.
Mothers are happy to have 10 kids than to sit on a dental chair. So yes, we sell pain. Every other day is a rehearsal of how best to package this pain. And I think the more you do it, the better you become. So yeah, a typical day is a nice day when you're seeing cooperative patients, patients, and you have everything in store for you in terms of cements, material. Your nurses are up there, tell you what, it is not the dentist who makes a good dentist. I have come to realize it is the assistants that make a good dentist. You have the perfect assistant, you have the perfect procedure. So I try to make my team usually happy. I'm not a worrying person. I think I'm a very jovial person. I try to break the ice or crack a few jokes with the nurses, with the patients. It eases up.
Speaking of jokes, you've reminded me about this daily saying they talk about doctors, like an apple a day
keeps the doctor away.
Keeps the doctor away. So what is that saying you could maybe bring up by yourself right here that could help people out there keep their teeth healthy? Like, what could you say? How should I say it? Like, okay, like don't take sweets to keep the dentist away, something like that.
I will say this. Beauty is powerful.
Wow.
And a smile, a good smile, is its sword.
True.
Yeah.
Wow, I agree with you.
So if you can put that in mind, any warrior at any battle, the last thing you'd want to lose is your sword. True. I don't think you want to lose your smile.
No, I don't want that.
Yeah.
Anyway. So Dr. Hannington, what are some of the challenges you've encountered all throughout your career? Yeah.
I think I am a very doing person. So when I see a problem, I want to fix it. Challenges I've faced in my career, there are two categories of challenges I would possibly look at. Okay. First, when I was employed, I think I love my employment. If anything, I still write to my employer because to me, he's still my professional father. He took me up in my 3rd year. I was in my 3rd year, he took me up at my elective level. He called me about putting in my application and then he employed me. And he mentored me. He took all my mistakes and yet he still kept me. Why would I say the challenge I faced then? Sometimes I think there are things, I would find that when I saw patients and they had so many problems, I was very inclined to work on all their problems. And then I realized, oh, it all translates to their payment. And sometimes it could be a big bill. And then sometimes I'll just tell maybe the person at the counter, you know what, let them tell you what they're able to pay, you can cancel the other bits. Aww. But that was not fair to the employer. So I always found myself in that mix of you want to do, not because your idea is to get the money, But because you always had this thing of, if I can do as much as I can in the time God has allowed me, I would want to give a pain-free environment, a happy environment, you know, all those things. So I think it is something that always found me stepping on my boss's feet. And I appreciate that even amidst this, I never stopped. And yet, he still put up with me.
Wow.
Second challenge comes into when I got to a bit of self-employment here. I found the challenge of one, I unlike my former employee who was able to take on young doctors and possibly mentor us, I struggle to take them on, young doctors, because I always fear that any mistake transcends not to the practice and not to the person. So when they come around and they have clients to see, I would say, you know what? I am happier to see the client and share with you, walk with you through what we need to do, or even call a specialist to come in. The other challenge is, of course, you have non-paying patients. Non-paying patients. And why is that a problem? You see someone out of love, you want them to be fine. Sometimes
with
they
the pain
become,
they're going through. Yeah, I understand.
But when you have given them a service and they walk away, you won't come back and say, now give me back my cement. It's not like selling a car that you can come back for it. So you find that you are bruised by people who do not want to honor up their payments.
Absolutely.
And maybe the other challenge I've faced is dentistry is looked at as a cosmetic thing. We have not yet grown to appreciate that actually it is part of holistic health. Does that make sense? Yes.
Really?
Yes. This is how you'll understand what I'm telling you. If you went to a health center you'll find that the labor suit is well equipped, you'll find that the whatever is well equipped, the pharmacy may be well equipped, but you may find that the dental chair does not even move. Do you understand?
Yeah, I get
you find that when NMS orders for things that they are using, you find that if they give you a powder for a certain segment, the liquid is not there. So you can't use it. But they have delivered it to you. You understand?
That's complicated.
So it makes dentistry super specialized. For you to enjoy it, you need to have almost everything at your disposal. You are an artist, so you need your brushes, you need your paint, you need to do everything just the perfect way.
Absolutely.
Which is not easy, and it's very expensive because dentistry is not considered yet as that bit of holistic health. So when I come here, I am passionate. I think maybe, who knows, whether people in policy making or whatever, they may find it and get to realize that, you know what, we have done a lot in all other aspects. What have we done to make dentistry as appreciable as it ought to be? Insurance companies, you find that they'll give you 300 million shillings for outpatient and they'll give you 150,000 for dental. You understand?
Yeah.
Those are challenges. You find that not just the insurance companies, not just the policymakers, even in admission at schools, you find that what they will give you as faculty allowance, you have to buy your own stuff, cements and the likes. It's expensive to train a dentist. It is expensive. And I think WHO and the others have come to categorize oral health now as one of the most common non-communicable diseases. You understand? Things like gum disease, gum disease is looked at as one of the number, either 2 or 3 non-communicable diseases worldwide. But yet, when you look at how much is given towards it, it's not as much. Why? Because someone may think, if I have 36 teeth, If I lose 5, I still have
The rest.
21
Wow.
or whatever. So yeah.
Wow, that's quite absurd. Anyways, doctor, what are some of the skills or qualities would you say are so crucial for success while pursuing the medicine career? Of course, since you're specialized in dentistry.
Yeah, qualities. There are qualities that are inborn. There are qualities that are nurtured. Yeah. I think anyone would make a good doctor.
Oh, anyone?
Anyone would
Even
make a
those who
good
don't
doctor.
love sciences?
Yes.
Wow.
Anyone would make a good doctor. But they need to exercise patience.
Okay.
They need to exercise selflessness. They will need to not exercise but nurture aspects of patience. You may give your best to someone, but they may not treat you as what your best deserves. How will you live with it? And I think you need God. Above all, I have come to realize you need God. Specifically dentistry, if you look at Europe, in the medical sector, they have the highest number of depressed health workers. Why? If you do very well, your patient is extremely happy and so are you. If you do something and it goes wrong, your patient is bitter and furious. And trust me, it will tip your scale to the other side. So many people get into depression. So that's why I say you need God. You need patience, you need God. And you need the right mentorship. It is so wrong when you are so young and you think, modern medicine is the thing. It's like eating the fruit and forgetting that it had roots. It is always important to understand things from the foundation. You should be that kind of person who wants to understand things from the basic principles. You need to be an artist. You need to know what the principles are, and then you work around the principles to get what works for you.
Yeah.
So Dr. Magara told me that in my 3rd year. He said dentistry is an art. You get the principle, you see how to make the principle work for you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, doctor, in this digital era we are in your own experience, how would you say technology has shaped the practice or has simplified practicing medicine?
Better diagnostics. Better diagnostics. More difficult patients. And that's why I said you need patience. By the time you get to meet your client, they have read about their condition, they have read about their options. They just now want you to either verbalize them and tell them why are you doing this instead of this. Yeah, so it has its ups and downs. For the side of the practitioner, it has given you diagnostics. It has also posed that you need to up your game. You need to know your stuff. You are no longer the kind of doctor who just comes and does things and you are a prophet. I am going to take out your tooth and that's what I am going to do. No, the person will say, okay, after that, what are the side effects?
What happens?
What happens?
Increase.
What are my options? Could you just deal with the pain? Maybe, do we need to consult? Is there another specialist I could see?
Yeah, most people have made Mr. Google their friend, so
Yes.
it makes sense.
And sometimes, yes, the Mr. Google can give right
Information.
perceptions and send also junk. So
Really?
yes. Yes. Not every blog you read is heavenly fact. Yeah. So it poses that question, and it puts us at a place that you need to know what Google says, so that when you are faced with a question, you need to be able to respond based on principle. What are you going to do? What do others do? What would another person possibly do? And why have you decided to do what you're doing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, doctor, for someone aspiring to maybe become a dentist someday, or someone who's already pursuing it as their career, how would you say your career has evolved over the years to inspire someone out there?
How has
What are those positive changes you've made throughout your career?
Me as a person?
Yes.
Positive changes?
Yes.
One, I would say one should never rush into self-employment. Like I said earlier, education is what remains when what you learnt in class has evaporated. Whatever remains, that is the education. Because what you learn and what you practice, they are not always the same. The other one is a foundational principle. The practice brings another meal to the table. So I think irrespective of whether you have the money to set up practice or whatever, you should have it at the back of your mind, the humility to be mentored, and to be mentored at a place of practice. Luckily, you will have a remuneration of a salary. So yes, it is important to, one, consider to be employed. Two, you should listen to your spirit. One time when I made up my mind to leave my former place, it was after my closest friend had left. He's called Dr. Oscar Tavaro. So we were together in med school, then we were working together at Jubilee Dental. And then one day Oscar resigns. And it left me a bit of a loner. So whenever I would sit, I would ask him, how did you know it was time for you to leave? What were the signs? And I remember him telling me, Huntington, when the time comes, you will know. When the time comes, you will know. And I am as certain as day is and night is that when the time came, I knew. I knew that my time was done. And I remember walking to my boss and saying, you know what? I intend to stop work, but I needed you to know. And I remember him telling me, I will let you know when you can stop. And I think for about 6 or 7 months, I continued to pay rent here. But I had the humility to say I'll wait until that day when he calls me and says, now it is okay. So it was in January. He had traveled to Australia that time. He came back after a month and he called me and said, you know what? If you still want to pursue personal stuff, consider end of January.
Oh.
I release you. Lastly, you need to honor. This is something people disrespect so much. You need to honor people who have mentored you, your teachers. Honor, honor, honor. Okay, I may speak about it as a Christian because I have understood what it is. Every time you dishonor someone, you dishonor yourself.
True.
That person who has been that instrument to make you what you are. For any young person, I would say, cultivate honor. Not because you are comfortable, but because it's a principle. Principles are not to be followed because they are comfortable, but because they are remunerations for those who respect the principles. For honor.
Well,
I still honor my former boss. Once in a while, I send him a message to re-echo my appreciation because he never ever kept anything far away from me.
That's really so beautiful.
Yeah.
Anyway, as we conclude this interesting conversation, I would love to ask Dr. Huntington, what advice do you think you could give to aspiring medical professionals considering this career path?
I advise one, the fields are vast, where the laborers are few. I urge them to pursue excellence. In that whatever you do, have the spirit of excellence. Not the spirit to finish, but to be excellent in whatever you choose to do. Pursue excellence. And all these other things will be added unto you. Yeah.
Well, that was an interesting topic today as we were discussing, trying to navigate the medical profession itself. Thank you, Dr. Hannington.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So allow me wish you a very merry Christmas. I wish you the best, a happy new year ahead. So we shall be planning and talking about more different professionals, of course, in the next episodes to come. Thank you for keeping up with us. I remain Bronya Katsime, your host, Career Bench.